Hello, and welcome to the new episode of In Love with the Process. I am your host, Mike Pecci, fresh off a long overdue 2-week vacation through Italy. My God, it was gorgeous. Gina and I joined my parents on an epic voyage through Rome, Cortona, Florence, Lake Como, and Siena. Those of you who follow my Instagram know how much I love food, and Jesus Christ, I had some life-changing meals over the past 11 days. Yeah. So speaking of food, on this episode, I'm trying out something new, an interview over a homemade meal, a hangout while making gourmet sandwiches. I've said it before, and I'll say it again, the best way to break the ice with someone that you are just getting to know, or a really good way to start a good, solid conversation with friends, is to feed them. Bring them right into the kitchen and let them be a part of the cooking process, making them taste food and drink beers. And today's guest is perfect for this. He is literally one of my favorite people on earth. Anytime I put together a crew for a shoot, he is top of the list. Mr. Anthony Jarvis, director of photography, cameraman, like all around jack of all trades. If you don't know his name yet, you will. Jarvis has shot quite a few of my short films, including MOPED KNIGHTS. He did The Dead Can't Be Distracted. He also shot a bunch of music videos with us, whether he was camera operating on a bunch of Killswitch Engage stuff. He actually was the DP on the Always video, which we talk about on this show. And most recently, and I will go out on the line and say his best work yet is his work that he did for Ian's Godfathers of Hardcore, which is a really beautifully shot, intimate portrait of the band Agnostic Front, and Jarvis does some really gorgeous interviews in that, and he went on the road and traveled with the band through Europe and shot a bunch of really fantastic footage. And right now the film is doing exceptional in the festival circuit. It just screened in London, and I know Jarvis and Ian were out there supporting it. So if you haven't had a chance to see it yet, I definitely would try to see it at one of these screenings. And write to Jarvis and tell him what a great job he did, because I'm really proud of the dude for it. What I love about this episode is that it's totally real. It's like stream of consciousness kind of stuff, and it's exactly what happens every time Jarvis and I get together and hang out. And you'll see we sort of go all over the place, but it's real, unedited, and I just love that about this episode. And it's hard not to have so much fun when hanging out with this guy. I mean, he's a grown-up 5-year-old with a severe case of ADD, a love of music, comics, and cinema, who just brings the fun out of everything. And we both had such a great time recording this episode and lost track of time, so I'm going to break it into 2 parts, because why the fuck not? So, do yourself a favor, make a sandwich, grab a beer or 2, and sit down and have lunch on In Love with the Process. Check, check, check. Check on your end.
Hey, hello. Hey, how are you?
Good. All right. So, hey, Jarvis, welcome to the show, man.
Hey, thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
Cool, dude.
I'm so glad I finally get to be here. It's so much fun.
I'm super excited to have you on.
Hell
buddy.
yeah.
You and I have been friends now for how long?
It's going to be like 7 or 8 years now. Whenever I use the milestone is the Czarface video. That was like the first real thing we did together.
Was that the first one?
Very first one, yeah. The one with the bodyguards, the multiple bodyguards.
Oh, with Inspector Deck.
Yeah, what year was that? Was that 2011?
Oh, Jesus, dude. I'm so bad with numbers.
I know. I think it was somewhere around there. So whenever that video came out, that was like the first time me and you worked together. We'd met a little bit before that, but yeah, I think that was the first video we worked together. So I kind of used that as the marker of when our friendship began to blossom.
Well, cool. I'm really excited. So,
Hell yeah.
so that the listeners at home know what's going on, I'm doing something a little bit differently today. I am sticking with the motif of fuck good audio, because that's like my new motif. And today I'm gonna make you some lunch, man.
Hell yeah.
Like,
I love it.
One of my favorite things to do for people that I love is make a sandwich for somebody. I think it's like,
and I love to eat, so that works out perfectly. I actually like the thing I cherish about our friendship is you've always taken me to like the best food spots. Like anytime we've ever traveled together or when we're just chilling and stuff, like the best example was in San Francisco when we went to that what was it? The sign was the pig. I forget the name of the spot, but it was that barbecue joint.
In San Francisco?
Yeah, it was like really ritzy, and we had like I remember I had ribs and they were so good.
Where the fuck was that?
I don't know, I can't remember the name of it.
The only place I can think of it wasn't Tommy's Joint. Tommy's Joint is the rotisserie place.
Yeah,
that's
no,
amazing.
it wasn't Tommy's. It was like almost very hipstery, like new wave barbecue. Like everything inside looked very hipstery, like Lower Alston, and but the food was amazing. It was so good. I can't remember the name. I just remember the sign was a pig.
I can't remember either. Maybe I lost that memory in the ice skating accident.
Or the amount of booze we had on that trip too. Jesus Christ.
Totally.
That also reminds me of that bar too. Remember the bar with the jacuzzi, the with the porn playing on the TV?
Was that the bar? Wait, that was the bar with the converted.
Yes,
the converted van.
Cozy Car.
Was it called Cozy Car?
Yeah, with the K. Remember?
Oh my god.
KOZYKAR.
Because I had Nick on. Because Nick was with us.
Oh, you guys were trying to remember it,
and we couldn't remember what
That's
the
right.
fucking name of it was.
That's right. I forgot about that.
But I hope it's still there. Because last time I was in San Fran, I think it was after I was there with you guys. Last time I was in there, it was really changing because of the whole fucking .com fucking bullshit that's going on there. But I hope it's still there. I still want to go back to that.
That spot was awesome. What was it? They were intercutting like browser videos with what's the name of that? Like it was like that 70s, not Starsky and Hutch, but it was like along those lines. I can't remember the name of the.
Was it Chips?
No, it wasn't Chips. It was like one of those 2-name dealios.
Speaking of Chips.
Yeah. Ooh, ASMR.
Get ready for this. Oh, I hate those videos.
Yeah. They're like, and they like scratch the mic. And
I fucking hate those videos.
It's so weird, but it's a whole culture, dude.
And sometimes I'm into it because I'm constantly looking for like how to do better sound or like really good sound recording stuff. And they always come the fuck up. And I hear them in that bit where they fucking run their like long fingernails over the fucking microphone.
I hate that.
I just want to murder you. I just want to murder you. And apparently it gives people boners. Right?
It does, yeah. It's very arousing, but it's also it does all different things to different people, I guess. It's weird. It's like popping bubbles, like the bubble wrap. It's like it's that type of shit,
or like the fucking gooey squishy shit.
That shit.
All right. So we're already off the rails.
Oh my god! I knew this was gonna happen.
I love it. Okay, so I'm gonna make a sandwich.
Okay.
So I got for those of you who don't live in Boston, one of the best parts about living this close to Waltham is that I'm gonna plug them, even though they're not sponsoring it.
Maybe you can get a sponsor.
It's fucking sick. Russo's, man.
Hell yeah! But great produce.
Oh my god! And their deli is amazing. Have you ever had their Tuscan ham?
No. Ooh, I'm looking forward to this.
Oh god!
Hell yeah!
So we're gonna do Tuscan ham sandwiches with a little bit of dried salami.
Ooh, a salam.
A little bit of that.
A little bit of the salam.
It's the guinea. It's the guineas in us.
Good. I just finished sweating out all the meat from my trip to Italy a few months ago.
Oh my god! Yeah, where'd you go? Where'd you go in Italy?
Florence, Venice, and San Genesio. We went and saw where my grandfather was born. So I went with my mom and her cousins, and we went to it's about an hour south of Florence. They live in this like tiny little mountain town, and like a bunch of my family still lives there. So we went and visited them and ate, and it was incredible.
Fuck yeah, dude.
The meat, dude. Oh my god. I remember they took us to this deli where it was just wooden rafters above your head, and hanging every like couple inches was just a full pig leg drying out the prosciutto.
Prosciutto?
Yeah, just hanging on the ceiling. It was amazing. And they just pull it down for you and slice off a piece.
It always blows my mind because, being a dumb American, when you go to the deli, you're like, oh, sliced meat and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But then you go and it's just like a whole fucking wild boar leg.
It's awesome.
It's so cool.
I just want to take a bite out of it. Hang from the ceiling.
All right, so do you like everything, dude?
I do, yeah. I'm not picky.
All right,
actually, onion is the one thing I can do without.
We don't have to.
All right, cool.
We don't have to.
But other than that,
I'm that up for ages. You ever have Asian pear?
Yes, yeah, delicious.
Fucking awesome.
Oh hell yeah! I should have brought. I had. We just went to the Guinness factory last week, and we bought some Guinness mustard, whole grain mustard. It was that would have been good. Shit, I didn't even think to bring it over. I'll bring it over next time we hang out.
So while I'm cutting here, let's just talk. Let's catch everybody up because some people may not be familiar with what it is that you do. So I think the best way to describe you is an all around DP / camera guy. Right?
Yeah. I try to keep it pretty wide. Like a utility player. I love to light though. That's like my favorite it's just sculpting light and doing all that stuff. But yeah, DP is like what I get hired for most of the time, most of my jobs.
And then if you guys are fans of the stuff that I've done, Jarvis was DP on Moped Knights, right?
Yep, and the Dead Can't Be Distracted.
On the movie that no one got to see.
Yeah, right. I think most people that probably listen to the show know about it, right?
Yeah.
It's unfortunate that could never come out, but
I felt like such a piece of shit, man, because, you know, as a director with no money, part of the whole fucking draw for you guys as a crew is like, we'll do something amazing. Everybody's going to be able to fucking see it.
Yeah.
And then the goddamn mouse came in.
Yeah, no, it was fun nonetheless, though. Like we got some beautiful shots out of it, at least for reels and stuff.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, and that was a lot of fun. And that was that the first job we did with Nick?
With yes,
yeah.
That was the first time.
So we bonded, and I love that kid to death. He's one of my favorite dudes.
Do you remember we talked about this when he was on my show? Do you remember? And you can snack on any of the shit that you want, by the way.
These chips are killer. Are these Kip Cod? Oh, salt and vinegar. Oh my god, it's so good.
Do you remember when we were shooting the bit and there was this part where I wanted the Punishers, or the guy who might be the Punisher, his hands to be all fucking gnarly?
Yeah. And then he went out and started punching stuff.
Like running him over the fucking sidewalk?
Yeah. His knuckles were all grizzled from just him tearing them up for like 25 minutes.
And then he comes in and he shows me. I'm like, dude, we have a makeup person.
No, he's a method actor. I mean, you can't stop him for that, right? Mm-hmm. Nick's the best. He's such a charming boy. Yes. Actually, I wouldn't even like. Oh my god, he's so handsome. There was a lot of fun down the Cape with getting to reconnect with everybody too, and just having Nick around for the weekend was a lot of fun.
Oh yeah, I don't think I've talked about it on the show yet.
Oh really?
But Gina put on a really amazing 40th birthday for me, and she got all the guys together. It was a amazing surprise. I had no fucking idea.
I know, it was so hard to keep it from you
because you guys were playing on that shit since like March or something.
Yeah. She put it in my ear. Yes, but it had to be early March. Yeah, she put the bug in our ear, and we'd been so excited. It was so hard to not like let it slip. I'm surprised Gina didn't let it slip, of all people.
She would start acting weird at the house, and I would just look at her going like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
Why are you being such a bitch?
Yeah, like, what is your problem?
Yeah.
She started to act really strange. It's certain, like she'd be on the phone and she'd have a fucking nightmare on the phone. I'm like, who are you talking to? And she's like, no one.
Oh, that's not obvious, Gina.
But she did such a killer job.
She did. It was awesome. The house was beautiful.
Oh yeah,
but it was good to just chill, like just sitting out in that backyard and just like playing games and drinking beer was a lot of fun.
Well, because her and I had always talked about it for years. I was like, I want to rent a cottage. She ended up renting this place down on the Cape, and I was like, I want to rent a cottage and I want to get the right people there, and then just have food. And just relax. And usually, whenever, being the director / producer that I am, usually whenever we do like a barbecue or an event, I'm usually in charge of food. I'm usually in charge of all that stuff. This was the first time in like fucking like 10 years.
Yeah, you were just chilling. It was awesome.
Dude, I mean...
Although you made sausages.
I did.
One night, and that was amazing.
I did make sausages.
Let's not forget about that.
Yeah.
But you did get to cook.
Well, because the kitchen was awesome in that fucking place.
Dope.
But then, you know, I spent most of the time playing. I think I played 8 hours of fucking bocce.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
It was like, holy shit.
And you were scorched. We were all scorched.
Oh my God.
From just being out in the sun. A bunch of indoor kids playing out in the sun.
Yeah, I had a blast, man. It was such a great group of people, and I was bummed that it didn't last longer.
It should have been a week.
We're gonna have to do more of those, man.
Yeah. Oh hell yeah.
We're gonna have to do.
We should make it a summer thing, like welcoming in the summer.
Fuck yeah.
That'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah, for sure.
I loved it. It was just great. It was great hanging out with Kruta and Lance and everybody. You know, having China and Heather there too. Like that was great.
China flew over from like,
I know, Seattle, right?
No, she was in like the UK, and then
that's right.
I saw her briefly when we were out in LA, and I was pitching. And then we went from there. We're talking about this as if everybody at home knows who these fucking people are.
It's all inside jokes.
Shit. Okay. Well, let me try to keep this interesting for folks
sorry, guys.
back at home. So how did you get into, like, how did you get started with camera stuff?
Oh, man. Well, the one memory in particular I have, I was at, it was like my uncle's wedding and I remember someone handed me a camera, and they were like, "Play around with this." I was probably like 8 years old. It was like an old video camera, the old VHS shoulder mount cameras. And they asked me, they're like, "Yeah, go around and just ask people how they're doing, and how say some nice words to the married couple and whatnot." So I just ran around as a kid with the camera, and that all kind of just spawned everything. And
really,
yeah, it's kind of what I actually was going up to people that weren't even at the wedding, and like they're like, "I don't know who these people are, but I send them my best wishes." And it was really funny. I was being wicked annoying, but then once I got into high school, we didn't have like a photography studio, like a darkroom and all that set up. So instead we had a TV studio, multicam with like a big switcher and, multi-monitors. It was actually really cool. It was pretty advanced. For my school, I went to a tiny public school. And
do you want to mention where? Where'd you go?
Millis High School. Okay. I don't know if your listeners know where that is. It's about 45 minutes west of Boston, southwest a little bit. But yeah, I graduated with like 70 people. My school was tiny.
Oh, wow. Dude.
And yeah, so it was really cool to have like a little mini TV studio in the school. And what we would do is like me and my buddies, we had a green screen there. So it was like our first getting to play with green screen and just being wacky. Shit. Yeah. So we had like, me and my buddies would just make up fake talk shows and stupid, out in the field, little shorts and stuff. And yeah, just that kind of spawned my passion. I've always loved watching movies. Ever since I was a kid, and to have a whole studio where I could do that was it fueled the fire. And then from there I went to college and got a digital filmmaking bachelor's degree. And
where'd you go to school?
I went to AI in Brookline, New England Institute of Art.
Really?
But now it's closed, which sucks because I guess they're ripping students off.
I'm such a cynic when it comes to colleges in general. I know that. Isn't that kind of what colleges in general are doing right now?
Yeah, absolutely. But you know what? It gave me some great connections to people. Like a lot of people I still work with today, which is great. Like my buddy Tim Dennison, I work with constantly. He went to school there. That's where we met. It just gave me a good idea on how to network. And also, one of the greatest things I learned out of that school was trying to keep myself as like a multi-tool person, someone who can do multiple things, not just pigeonhole yourself as a cinematographer. They taught me how to run audio, how to work in a studio, how to work in a field, single, multicam, etc., all that stuff. And that was like I think that was the best thing to happen for me career-wise, was just to not focus so much on one particular thing. Instead, spread yourself out a little bit.
Nice.
But obviously DP has become the forefront in the last 10 or 12 years. It's become my main bread and butter.
Well, you're great at it, dude.
Thank you. Appreciate
the one thing that we didn't mention as well, because I'm such a shitty host right now, because I'm making sandwiches at the same time, is that you just finished shooting The Godfathers of Hardcore for
Well, yeah, not just finished. I mean, we've been done with that for, as of this recording, probably, 2 years now? Yeah. It's crazy. Time flies.
You finished shooting 2 years ago, but then the movie
Ian's been doing a lot of work since my work finished. But yeah, we DP'd that, and that was one of the coolest experiences I've ever had career-wise. Top 3, for sure. I would even say probably number 1. I mean, I got to tour with Agnostic Front, live on their bus for a couple weeks, live with Roger for a couple weeks, hang out at Vinny's house in New York. It was really interesting. It was cool, and it was also a learning experience. Like I feel like Ian and I were definitely we were forming. Stylistically, going into it, we knew what we wanted to do, but we also, I think we did it the hardest way possible. We had a lot of gear that for so much moving around that we did, and I feel like in looking back at it now, it's like, wow, I could have really streamlined everything and made it a lot tighter, and we could have done a few things differently. But I think that's a part of the process. I think learning how to make the next shoot better is something you learn from each shoot, and yeah, that was the best experience. My interviews have changed completely since shooting that, just the way that I approach them light-wise and frame-wise, and it was really cool. It was a really fun project, and I'm very excited to see what the future holds for that film.
Yeah, it's beautiful, dude. I mean, you did a phenomenal. I've seen your growth since you've been working with me.
Yeah. I've seen my growth. It's crazy when I go back. Whenever I revise my demo reel, I see it's like shit. I got to get rid of all this old crap. It looks like garbage.
That's a big part of it, man.
Yeah.
It's sort of because as a shooter, if you're a busy shooter, you never really have time to work on your demo.
Of course. Yeah, I hadn't touched mine for like 3 or 4 years, I think, since the last revision.
Yeah, and at that point, people ask while
Yeah.
you're out, like, hey, can you send me? And you're like, oh, fuck, it doesn't look as good as it's supposed to look.
Yeah, and you just end up sending them like a handful of links to like stuff you've done. I've done that a couple times. Yeah, here's a trailer to The Godfathers. I haven't put it in my reel yet.
Okay, so sandwiches are done.
Awesome.
Help yourself, you're allowed to chew. Hold on a sec as I reset my mic.
So we are doing an ASMR podcast, right?
Yeah, go fuck yourself.
We're gonna eat this sandwich and it's gonna be some. Oh my god, look at this thing. Actually, should you take a photo for the blog?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, before I take a bite out of this thing, you should definitely
Blog it. Isn't it? This is the most interesting podcast material right here. Is the sound of me using my fucking iPhone, like every rude prick on America right now. Let me get some good shots of my food before I eat it.
Give you a better background.
That's what we're eating. Okay.
Look how fat this thing is.
It's supposed to be. This is how you make real sandwiches.
I do not appreciate a thin sandwich. No. I think thin sandwiches are the bane of human existence. I come from the very big Italian family, so we like everything to be big. Thick slices of bread, thick slices of meat. Like we go hard.
All right. Let's try it. Let's try it. Let's see what it tastes like.
What kind of bread is this?
So I hope you like olives, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's Kalamata olive loaf.
So good. Funny story about olives, though. I used to hate them immensely, but I've grown into liking them.
Oh, good thing you do.
I know, right? I went to when I was in Italy. We also went to Greece, and I had some really good olives. It was awesome.
I love fucking olives, man.
It's delicious.
Yeah. So
The apple.
the apple's got is there that Asian pear in there? And
Oh
then
yeah, pear. Sorry.
and then I found a garlic mustard. That's really good. What is this thing? It's
That's it.
roasted garlic mustard.
What brand is that? Stonewall Kitchen.
It's that Stonewall Kitchen stuff. They're everywhere right now, and
Ooh,
their stuff is so good.
hits you in the back of the sinuses.
Yeah, I like it. Mustards are my big thing. I'm not a mayo guy.
Yeah, me neither. I'm a mustard guy too. I like that zing, the zing of a mustard seed.
Yeah, I'm addicted to salt and vinegar. That's why we have salt and vinegar chips as well.
So good.
So yeah, we got olive loaf bread with that fucking Tuscan ham, a little bit of dry salami, some lettuce, some mild cheddar, a bit of a hummus, red roasted pepper hummus spread, and fresh dill.
Yeah, the dill's a nice little like refreshing summer herb.
I recently found dill again.
Really?
And I was just because I was at Russo's, plug, they should pay me for this. I was recently at Russo's and I was like, what the fuck is the deal with dill? And if you just eat dill on its own, it's so buttery.
Yeah. Right?
It's wonderful, dude.
My girlfriend Kira actually, she grows tons of herbs and she grows dill, so she uses it in everything. So I've grown quite fond of it. Oh. It's so delicious. And I'm a huge pickle fan, which I'm psyched to see this enormous spear pickle that you put in front of me. What brand is that? Is that Grillo's?
No,
That's Russo's brand as well.
Russo.
Awesome.
So who knows? It could come from
could
somewhere else and they repackage it and they just put a Russo sticker on it.
It's a good ass pickle.
But
Oh my God.
do a good job, right?
It's got good crunch. That's how I like a good pickle. I don't like soft pickles.
Yeah. See, what a great episode this is. See how well this one works out.
This episode is gonna be more of a hang session than like
Yeah, for sure.
like I want everyone who listens to this show needs to feel like they're actually here hanging out with us.
Yeah, because this is part of what the process is for me. Is it's this.
Yeah.
And this is something that we've done before. When we travel,
Yeah.
I specifically set aside a couple of days, either ahead or in the back end, to have fun and to go around and eat food and do shit. Because typically what happens with us is whenever you get hired on a production, it's usually the end of the fucking world for whoever the client is. And it's like, you got to turn this shit around. You got to do 15-hour days. You got to work your fucking ass off and you got to work real hard, which I don't mind doing.
Me neither. Yeah.
That's part of the job.
Of course.
But the other part about shooting and movie stuff for me, and this goes back to my old romantic notion of like the Wild West almost.
Okay.
Where for me, it's always like old cowboys getting together. So you get a job.
Yeah, hang out at a saloon, you know.
Someone's like, you got to rob a fucking train. All right, I know a guy that's good with explosives. I know a guy that's good with crowd distractions. You know what I mean? Like all that shit.
And you got to bond with those guys because you're going to be working together.
Exactly. You're going to be in like high stress situations.
Mm-hmm. You got to make sure they're good people too. Like you don't want to get to you don't want to be in the middle of a bank robbery and you have that one guy who's unstable that just melts down. Like, you don't want something like that.
No, dude. And they stick out like a sore thumb when you get on set. And usually when you're younger and you're doing free stuff, that's when you start to find these people. And that's when you start to find the people that you're like, I can rely on this guy. He's a good gunslinger. You know, I can rely on this guy. He's good for this. Or I can rely on this girl because she's really awesome.
He ties a really good rope. He can bound up a bunch of people.
But the thing I love about you, and this show's all about you today. So,
aw, thanks, babe.
And I love chewing with a full fucking mouth.
I know, I'm trying to like pull away every time I take a bite so that I'm not chewing in people's ears.
Enjoy it. I highly suggest at home you guys make yourself a sandwich right now. Pause it. Go make yourself a sandwich so that you can chew with us so you don't feel left out.
Hell yeah. And then just don't chew too loudly that you can't hear us.
Yeah, put on some headphones. So the thing I love about you, man, and this gets into like set etiquette, which I think is like an interesting thing to talk about.
Definitely.
Because, is that your fucking phone?
Sorry.
Oh my God.
I put it in my pocket.
Speaking of set etiquette. So,
Sorry.
it's okay. So, hanging out with people, what you've been really good at, and one of the reasons why I love to have you on the set, it isn't just because you're good at what you do. Because I'd rather have people that I love more than an asshole that's really fucking great. You have this ability to bring such a levity to the set. To when shit gets stressed out. You and I and Tony, we usually end up in that mode where we start like chanting the most inappropriate, terrible things when we're shooting.
Yeah, we get very punchy, but punchy in a comedic way, though. We're not mean like some people can be on set.
Yes,
but we like to have fun. I don't like being on a set where people aren't laughing and smiling and stuff. I know it happens. I get stressed out. It happens to everybody. But I would rather make people laugh than just put too much work on someone. You know, like it's some people can't handle the stress. I'd rather everybody be comfortable and have fun, and because I don't like to treat it as a job on set. I like it to be, as much as it is a job and as much as I love working hard, there needs to be a little bit of fun in there. Because if it's not fun, then people are miserable. They don't want to work with you again. You know?
There's a lot of people that forget that, at least when we do our movie ship, that the fact that we're there is a fucking miracle within itself.
Yeah.
And the fact that you're on that set, this is the good time. This is when you're supposed to be having a great time. And if you're sitting on your fucking phone and you're fucking miserable and having
when
a
is
horrible,
today
when is it going
end?
to end? Then why are you doing it?
Yeah, exactly.
Because today it's like someone gave you the keys to the fucking like Disney World with no chaperone.
Yeah.
And you get to fucking run around and do whatever the hell it is that you want to do, and you're going to sit there and go, "Why is this so fucking excruciating?"
Then don't be in this world. Like if you're miserable on set, then that's how it's going to be. Just get out of it. Don't be a part of it. You know. I've worked with several people that are like that. It's the worst when you get that one person who shows up, usually a PA. Or sometimes grips. I've met some grips like it, where they walk in and the first thing they go is, "So what time do you think we'll be out tonight?" As soon as like 8 a.m. And you know it's like you have like probably a 12 to 15 hour day ahead of you. And they're like, "Oh, do you think we'll be out before midnight?" It's like, you're bringing that up. We haven't even unloaded the truck yet.
Dude, you've tainted the whole fucking morning.
Yep.
You know?
And you instantly have that gray cloud over your head and you become like the black sheep of the set. And there's nothing worse than that.
And then the producers are looking at you all day, and the producers are just like, "He's a pain in my fucking ass."
Yeah. And then they're when you're sitting there and you're not doing anything, then they put you under the microscope even harder. They're really like judging you harshly. Yeah, that's a nightmare. We've worked. I'm not going to say any names, but there's been plenty of people we've worked with that have been like that. And fortunately, we don't work with them anymore. I don't.
I mean, that's typically what happens. So, like, if you're someone new that wants to get on set and get some experience, and I get young fans writing to me all the time asking about that, like, what's the best way to get in the business? What's the best way to do that? If you're interested in camera stuff, if you're interested even in directing, and you consider yourself a visual director, a great way to get in is to PA or to become like a low grip on the lighting team, because you can really see from that perspective how the picture comes together, how it all works out. And if you do that, the best thing in the world to do. You'll constantly get calls if you're personable, if you're fun to hang out with, if you never fucking complain.
Yep. Another note too is the people that tell you how to do your job. Like there's been times on set where there's been like a PA who's like, oh, you should do this that way. Don't do that. I feel like that is a wicked good way to alienate everybody on the set. Because there's been shoots where we've worked with a PA like that was telling someone how to set the camera for a shot, like telling the DP how to do it. And we're all sitting there looking at each other like, is this like 18-year-old kid's trying to tell a 45-year-old DP how to do this? He's been doing it for 25 years. Like, that's not the right thing to do. And then afterwards, it was just them railing on that kid for the. It's like, dude, you're there to learn. Ask questions. Definitely ask questions. That's the biggest thing you can do. But don't tell people what to do. And if you want to know something, ask. You know,
I never understood that anyways. Like, what do you think is going to happen when you get into that situation? Like, I'm going to go in and show how much I know by telling this guy how to do his fucking job.
Someone that's been doing it longer than I've been alive, too.
Oh my God.
Yeah, that stuff doesn't fly on set. And you'll just be made fun of and mocked afterwards. But ask questions, because I love when a young person, like somebody fresh that's coming into the industry, and they come up and they're like, you know, what does this do? You know, why are you doing it this way? I love to sit down and explain myself through it and have them learn, because I had people like that when I was going to college that were more than happy to show me different techniques and stuff. And you as well. Like, you've shown me plenty of techniques. I think that is so important to this industry. Like, if you're looking to get any kind of in, it's just listen to what everyone has to say and always ask questions, because there's going to be people like me who just are more than happy to spread knowledge and help you out.
I agree. And with teaching and helping out and having like great assistants, I've had great assistants over my career. I get invigorated when I teach. So like if someone comes to me and asks me something, I physically have to explain my process, which causes me to reflect on what my process is, which actually makes me change a lot of my process as I go through that. So it's a healthy thing. And I think that there's a lot of older folks that listen to the show that are so concerned with bringing up the younger group. And it's like, are they going to steal my techniques? They're going to steal my tricks. It's like, what the fuck are your tricks and techniques? I mean,
they haven't been done for the last 100 years.
Fucking hundreds plus years at this point. You know, like, you're not defined by what camera you use. You're not defined by those things.
And who knows, though, those young kids can also show you a technique that you didn't even think of.
Well, sure, man. I mean, how fast... Hold on a second. They're in the fridge. How fast does technology change? You know?
I would say every two years. I mean, we're constantly... Power's doubling, sensors are getting bigger, bit rates are getting higher.
Dude, I mean, I turned 40 this year, and for the first time, I actually feel like I'm a fucking 40-year-old when I start dealing with shit. Thankfully, Gina's younger than I am, and she laughs at me when I come through, and I'm just like, I figured out how to tag Instagram stories a certain way, and she's like, you're fucking 40 years old.
Social media is a whole other beast. I feel like I'm actually too old for social media sometimes. It's crazy. These kids these days, man.
So I think this is a good spot to take a break and promote some of our sponsors for the show. I am super excited to get the continued support from my friends over at Puget Systems. Are you in the market for a new edit system? Don't want to settle for Apple prices and slower hardware? Build a PC. I did. Well, I built two, actually, and honestly, well, I had my boys at Puget Systems build them for me. Can't say no to that vigorously tested hardware, custom-built specs, and real customer support. Like, you actually get somebody on the phone when something's wrong. You don't have to go through that text bullshit and wait for an email back. I love that about these guys. I'm telling you, I cut everything I do on their computers, and I've had the oldest system now for about 3 years, and it's still going strong. It's upgradable. It's the way to go, guys. So go to PugetSystems.com and choose a package based upon the software you use. Click the link below and tell them that I sent you. Next up, Rule Boston Camera. Do yourself a favor and rent gear. I'm serious. It's the smarter move. If you have clients that expect you to have the latest toys, stuff that upgrades every month, why would you buy a camera for thousands of dollars that you can't pay off. I mean, this stuff upgrades so quickly, guys. I do this. I make sure that I set up a good relationship with my local rental house because at that point I can be using all the newest stuff on the marketplace, stuff that is tested, and stuff that is guaranteed, and I look really good for my clients by doing it. So if you are in the Northeast, if you're in the New England area, I highly suggest you become friends with the guys over at Rule Boston Camera. They have the best gear in the market. They teach you how to use it. And like I said, they have full tech support. So if for some reason you're on a shoot, on location, your gear doesn't work, you can call these guys up and they'll bring you a new one. It's a lot different than a lot of those .com rental sites that are out there. My clients love that. So do yourself a favor, go check out Rule Boston Camera. We have a new sponsor on this episode, SpiffyGear.com and their Specular Light. Specular will make your life easier. Carry less, light more, and have more options. With the CRI of 94 plus and specially filters, Specular delivers a constant 5600K daylight balance light every time. Specular can be an 85 centimeter octabank, yet fits into a laptop case. This is the only light you'll need. I just tried out this light. These guys sent me one a few weeks ago, and I used it on a product shoot that I'll be releasing the stills for soon. It's really cool. It's like very bright light that you can actually shape into custom shapes. And honestly, I think it's the perfect light for an eye light. Like if you're doing sci-fi stuff, or if you want like a really interesting shape reflected in the eye of your talent, the specular light is a cool one for that. So I would definitely go check it out. Go to spiffygear.com. So let's see what else can we talk about. So enjoy your sandwich, bro. Take a minute and chew on your sandwich, buddy. Okay, so let's talk about where you continued. So you went to school, and then you started to get into doing. Did you do music video stuff before you were hanging out with us?
In college I did a lot of music videos because it was an easy way. I know I've always been connected to the metal scene in Massachusetts. Guys like Killswitch, Shadows Fall, Unearth. So I've always had connections with musicians and all that stuff. So I was always, even when I was 18, I was going to studios, shooting bands, recording, making little video packages for them to put on the web, the early days of social media. And I would just do that. And actually one of my final projects was a music video, straight up music video I just did from scratch. And it kind of just gave me the freedom to try out different lighting techniques and try different cameras, and it gave me excuses to rent like a certain piece of hardware and stuff like that. I think music videos are great for that, like a great introduction to the world of filmmaking, because it's creatively very
Open-ended.
Yeah, open-ended. Yeah, it's expandable. Like you can just build off of that music video pedestal, which is rad.
Yeah, you're totally right about that. I mean, when we were doing music videos, as a director, as like a film director, I was sort of like, well, I'll do music videos because I'll figure out some stuff. And that's kind of what we did, where it was like, oh, cool. I really learned how to light really well after doing years and years of music video stuff.
Yeah, it just, you're not working with like you're not working with a set palette, you know? It just lets you kind of be as creatively free as you want.
Right.
Especially if you're the director, it's your video, like you can do whatever the hell you want. You can go crazy. And that's what I really liked about it. And then, unfortunately, to pay the bills, then you get the real video jobs that are the sterile, trying to pay rent every month, you know. I do a lot of work with Hasbro, and a lot of their stuff, like, I love the work. It's great. Except for the spoilers. I get so many spoilers for Marvel and Star Wars and all that stuff. But
you like physical spoilers? Like you understand what's happening before you go see the movie?
Yeah. So the big one for Infinity War, we were doing all the new line of toys last year for Infinity War, like way before the movie was even like fully announced. And I got to see Stormbreaker, and I got to see Thanos' full setup, what he looked like in the film, and the gauntlet and all that stuff, which is, it's cool. I hate spoilers. But I'm a huge Marvel fan, so like a part of me, that kid part of me, was like so excited, especially because Thanos is my favorite villain of all time.
Okay.
Infinity Gauntlet, 91, Jim Starling, I think 91 or 92. That is the comic that got me into Marvel. The Marvel Universe was first major comic I read was the Infinity Gauntlet, and to see it adapted to film now is one of the most amazing things ever. And I love Josh Brolin, and yeah, I'm such a Marvel kid. Everyone always asks me, Marvel or DC? I'm always Marvel. It's never the...
Okay, hold on. I just like the fact that you're like, look, I love my job at Hasbro. It's a great thing, but... And I was expecting like the next bit of but to be like, but I have to work with kids all day.
Yeah.
But I have to do this. But you're like, no, because of the fucking spoilers.
Dude, and it's a lot of them too, like Star Wars. I got a bunch of spoilers for Star Wars when the new movies were coming out, Force Awakens and Last Jedi, and... Yeah, it is the worst part. Working with kids is actually not that bad. Let me take that back. So working with kids is interesting. You learn a lot because they're harder to tame than like an adult who's been doing it for a while.
Yeah.
But you also get like that genuine, like when you get a kid to genuinely laugh and have fun with a toy is like one of the coolest experiences ever. Because they're so like, there's so much energy that comes from them when they do it. But then when you have the kids that don't want to work and they're having a bad day or it's hot, that is the worst. That's a nightmare. But
so kids actually get excited about the toys?
yeah, they get pretty pumped. Like I'm trying to think of like an example that I can talk about. Usually a lot of toys that like have like any kind of like Furby, you know, like the what would you call it? Like a interactive puppet type of thing. Like kids get so pumped for that stuff.
How old are we talking now?
It all varies. It depends on the brand. So like Furby would be I want to say Furby's like 5 to 10, I think. And then what's the other one? Littlest Pet Shop is like a little bit younger, little like 5 and below, kind of. It fluctuates quite a bit. Depends on the brand. But the oldest we'll do Nerf, and that's usually the oldest we do, and that's anywhere from like 14 to 18.
Okay.
So that's usually the limit. Then we'll have parents. There'll be some adults on set, but they're easy. It's mainly they're the background, and they're just laughing and crossing their arms and watching the kids play with the toys and stuff. They're just background noise.
It doesn't surprise me that you like it so much, Jarvis, because you are essentially a 5-year-old.
I am, dude. I love toys. I love comics. I love movies. Yeah, and you've seen me on set. I can have some pretty childish humor on set. Try to keep it fresh, though. I think if you grow up too quickly, you have like that Peter Pan syndrome. You know?
I think it's in our contract with Killswitch that we have to hire you if we do Killswitch.
I'm pretty sure Adam demands me on set whenever you guys work with Killswitch. They said he's also he is however old he's like 40 or whatever. He's a 40-year-old 5-year-old.
He is.
Like he is such a child. He's a huge man child and he's the best. He's so funny. Me and him just riff off each other all day long.
He's hysterical.
He is. I love those guys.
Didn't you go do you did a segment with him where you went to a brewery, right?
Yeah, so we did, oh my God, what album was that? Was that Disarm the Descent? Do you remember?
Was it not the last one? Was it the one before the last one?
I don't remember. I think it was the first one with Jesse back, right?
Yes.
So yeah, we did profiles on each member of the band, and I went out with my good buddy Steve, Steve Vautour, the Whore Church, little plug right there. Him and I went out and we followed Killswitch around on like a mini tour. I think they were out with Lamb of God and Huntress, I think. And so we took each member of the band and we did multiple things with them. Like Mike D, he got a tattoo. We covered him getting a tattoo. Joel went to the guitar store, played guitar. Jesse went to my dad's appliance store and made pizza from scratch.
I love Jesse.
From Russo's. All the ingredients are from
Russo's.
Yeah, remember
Russo's again.
Right? So we all went to Russo's. I shot, the owner of Russo's gave us permission to shoot in the store.
Oh, no shit.
And we went, and Jesse went and got all the fresh ingredients. Then we went to my dad's store, and he made the pizzas. And it was amazing. And you can watch these. They're released. They came out on the Beyond the Flame Blu-ray that came out a year or two ago. They're all on, as well as, I think, the doc that you guys did with Heather, right?
Yes.
I think that's on it. And then the live show we did.
Oh, yes. That's also on there.
Yeah, and the live show that I also shot of Jesse's first show back. We did the Halloween show.
Yes.
And then I did the first show back with Jesse, which was like maybe 2 years before that first record came
I
out with
remember.
him.
Yeah, I remember when you had done that.
So it's a really cool Blu-ray. There's a lot of like good stuff on it, and there's multiple documentaries, both from you guys and they had some other girl do one as well.
Yes, that's right.
But yeah, that was really rad. I love those guys.
Dude, we've always had so much fun. I mean, you know, since we're talking about Killswitch, we should probably talk about the Always video because that video, dude, that video to this day,
It's like 5 million views. I just looked at it.
The most. I mean, our Meshuggah videos probably get the most, but for fan interaction, I still have people like writing to me going, "Dude, I had no idea you were the one that did the Always video," and I was like, "I had no idea that people are still watching."
I know, right?
Watching it.
It's got such a hard impact because there's so many. I just had a friend recently affected he lost his brother to cancer, and he messaged me and he's like, "Man, this video like hits home. Like this is like you encompassed everything I feel in this video, like everything I had went through with my brother." And it's amazing to hear that. Yeah. And that was such a fun experience.
Well, that was, I mean, I've told this before in previous episodes, but that was the catalyst for us doing that video. And I think I told it to Jesse when I had him on the show.
Yeah. I remember listening to that.
The catalyst for the video was that we were supposed to travel Europe.
Yes. Yeah,
we were
I remember
supposed to travel through Europe, and then the drummer like broke his ankle.
His collarbone.
Or his collarbone.
Yeah, he fell off his bike. He went over the handlebars.
Bastard.
A drummer of all injuries, too. A collarbone.
Yeah. So he breaks his collarbone. So we were originally supposed to tour with them in Europe and then do a music video in between shows while we were doing it. So then they call us up and they tell us the bad news that we can't do it. We had a replacement drummer. And I remember just Ian and I looking at each other and us being like completely fucking depressed. And I'm looking at him and he's looking at me and he's like, "I don't even know what I want to do." And I looked at him and I'm like, "Well, I have my heart set on traveling somewhere, so we should go to California." And I had driven like partly down that coast a few years earlier, and it was gorgeous. Like, what is that, Route 1, I think?
Yeah, the Pacific Coast Highway.
Yeah, it's so gorgeous.
Yeah.
And so I was like, dude, we should just do a video that drives down that coast. That way we can go on a vacation. We'll keep the crew really fucking small because budgets are tight.
Yeah. And flying all of us over there, getting gear and stuff, it adds up.
Put us up. So like it was really tight, and you were first on the list. You and Tony were first on the list. And then we had to book people. And I was like, dude, it has to be fun.
Yeah.
Like, we have to enjoy these guys. We have to enjoy everything. So,
and of course, who do we get?
Nick.
Yes.
Nick.
Our man Nick.
And then, oh my God.
John Thompson.
John Thompson. My brain just froze. Yeah, John was great too.
He's awesome. What's he up to these days?
He was doing a lot of weird commercial shit.
I've seen him on TV. I saw him on like a bank commercial or something recently.
He's doing like a lot of old, like late 40s fucking like
single stuff.
Oh.
Yeah, I saw him on a dating, it was like a Silver Fox dating service or something. Yeah, I can't remember the exact name of it, but I remember seeing him on it. This was a couple years ago. But yeah, I'm glad to see that he's still working and stuff. He's a great dude. I haven't talked to him, I don't think, since that shoot.
No, I don't even know where he is. I think he's out there.
Yeah, I think he's still in LA. He was in LA at the time, right? Didn't we just fly him up?
We flew him up from LA. Him and Nick.
That's right. Yeah, because they were both they were local boys. And then it was the four of us, me, you, Ian, and Tony.
But then you, me, and Tony went out for a week first.
That's
or
right.
Like a couple days.
It was a few days, yeah. And then Ian met up with us. Holy crap, you remember when we found the needle in the bathroom? Oh my God, I just remembered that. So there's a scene in the music video. When you guys watch it, it's John, the older guy, he's got the gray hair. He's in a bathroom, like looking in the mirror, kind of like washing his face off or something. And there's like a green light above him. And what we did is we had an LED light strip, like one of those ones you glue to the wall, right?
Yeah, it was like early versions of that shit.
And I remember we lit that whole scene just with that strip up in the light. But as I was putting it up into like this recessed light, I look over the top and I'm like, what the fuck is down there? And I look underneath through like the opaque glass, and I can see a syringe sitting there with a little baggie of white crystals just sitting there. And we all just stopped and looked at each other and we're like, holy shit, we're in one of those like drug dens. This was also like in Santa Cruz in like the shittiest motel ever, like on the boardwalk down there. And I just remember getting it and we all just freaked out for like 15 minutes. Like, we don't want to touch him. I
just remember you calling from the bathroom. The guy?
Yeah. Guys, I think we have a problem here. I think I found some drugs. I almost touched it too. I'm glad I didn't touch it because I was reaching my hand in there to push the light down. And I saw like a shadow move in the opaque glass, the plastic that was covering, diffusing the light. And I remember just reaching up and looking in and seeing that. And the little bag was funny. I remember it was like a little like dime bag, and it had like little pot leaves on it, but it was white crystals inside it. It had to be crystal meth. I don't know my drugs, but it had to be crystal meth.
Well, with that way that fucking town is.
Yeah.
Dude, that's the same town that they shot Lost Boys in.
Yeah, remember the bridge was directly across the street from the hotel we were at.
Yeah, and that place is as depressing as that movie was. Like, I was expecting to see little 80s vampires flying around still.
Mullets, blonde.
But if you remember the specifics about that hotel, when we were booking it, so we didn't have a lot of money, and we were trying to get our locations from across country. Mm-hmm. So Ian went through the painstaking process of literally permitting the entire coast of California for us.
That's right. Yeah, all the parks and
all the parks,
beaches and stuff.
We just didn't know. We couldn't tell until we got out there. And then we needed to do a couple of interior scenes. And some of them were like, we'll just figure them out. We'll go down there, we'll find a bar, and we'll go and we'll talk to people in a bar. But then I needed to, A, put us up, and also B, shoot a couple of hotel scenes. So I went and I found the fucking worst hotel possible, because I figured I'd be able to just shoot stuff in there without asking them.
Yeah.
You know? And I went down, I talked to the guy, the manager, and I was like, yeah, we might do a couple photos or something up by the pool. And he was like, sure, you know? And when I called him on the phone, I was booking the hotel rooms, and I was like, look, I need to get a couple hotel rooms, and the prices were fucking dirt cheap. It was like $80 a night or some shit like that. And he looks,
but it makes sense now.
But he's on the phone. He's on the phone. He goes, how would you like to get the wedding suite? And I was like, what is the wedding suite? What is the wedding suite? And he's like, it comes with a kitchenette, it comes with a couch, it comes with a whole second room, and it has like 2, queen beds in it. And I was like, okay, how much is the wedding suite? He was like, $100 a night. so we got that room, and if you remember, me and Tony were in it, and we walk in the room, and all of the comforters have cigarette burns in them. You remember the cigarette burns?
Do you remember the blanket though? It was like one of those like the mini golf turf blankets. They were like, I don't even know it's like polyester or some shit. And I remember us walking in. Yeah, I remember first of all the distinct smell of cigarettes. Those rooms stunk. But then we look on the bed. Yeah, and it's just peppered with cigarette burns.
Well, do you remember too? Tony and I were joking because there was on the wall a run of spackle that was like, and it looked like someone had a semi-automatic gun and had peppered all the way up to the floor.
Yeah, and there was just like the filled in spots. Oh my God, I forgot about that.
And the couch smelled like a urinal.
Yeah. Oh my God, that whole room. Everything about that room was trapped in the 1960s. It was so disgusting. I wish I could get the proper term so people could get like a good idea of what that blanket was made of. But the best thing I can say is like mini golf turf.
Yeah, totally.
But I just remember the couch also had the same feeling as it. Like it felt like a microfiber brush, but like a little more brash, a little harsher. But oh my God.
I felt like at one point it was a really soft blanket that just had years of semen and puke. just dried.
We almost had to like pull the shower curtain down and sleep on top of the shower curtain on top of the bed. Those beds were gross.
Oh my! Did you stay in the room with us?
No, Ian and I had an extra room. Remember, we got 2 rooms.
That's right.
And I split a room with Ian, which is like the story of our lives. Ian and I are always sharing rooms together. Him and I have he's heard me talk in my sleep so many times. I'm sure he has an entire story written around the shit that comes out of my mouth when I'm sleeping. I'm a nightmare. But no, Ian and I have become so close because of how many hotel rooms we've shared together and rooms in general. But that was so much fun. That trip was incredible. Oh, do you remember the hat we got Ian on that trip too? The cockfight hat. So Ian always shaves his head, and because of that, he can get sunburn on his head very easily. So he was like asking Tony and Mike and I, he's like, "Hey, can you guys run out and grab me a hat?" While he was doing something, he was scouting or something like that.
Yeah.
And so I don't know where we went, but we got to like that gas station. Remember they had the rack like on the ceiling of all just hats.
Oh, yeah.
And me, you, and Tony sat there for we were probably in there for 15 minutes trying to find a hat. And we found the best hat. It was 2 chickens fighting, and on the back it said cockfight. And there's actually a photo I think on my Instagram from 5 years ago, whenever that was, and it's Ian in the hat. He still has that hat. He wore it on one of the Godfather shoots we did together. It was amazing. And I was so proud of that moment. Me, you, and Tony were dying the entire time.
We had so much fun when we were out there scouting because we we went and we rented a convertible Mustang.
Oh yeah, that was awesome.
Remember?
Yeah.
And we basically did that music video at least twice before we shot that music video.
Yeah.
It was like the three of us, and we drove that coast, and we would just look over cliffs to see if there was a beach down there.
Yeah, basically I sat in the back of the Mustang and just shot out the sides, out the back. And then didn't we I remember Ian got was it from Matthews or Mitchell? He got the car clamps too, the suction cups.
Oh, yeah.
Remember we mounted a Nikon to the front of the car?
Oh, yeah,
and we
yeah.
shot a bunch of driving shots with that.
Yeah.
That was really cool. That was awesome for them to hook us up with that. I think it was Matthews.
Oh, we were hooked up with, it was either Matthews or it was Rod. I think wasn't, because Rod.
Oh yeah, Rod hooked us up with
Rod Clark, who was in an earlier episode. He was in the Vegas episode.
Yeah, he what did he hook us up with? Filters?
I think so.
And like a matte box and stuff. I
think so.
He also just kind of like hung out and like did like he assisted everybody. It was awesome. He's a great dude.
Yeah.
I love that guy. But yeah, he works for what now? A filter company now, right?
I think he's got his own.
Oh, it's his own company.
Yeah.
High Format, is that the name of it?
No, he used to work for them. He had
Okay.
something called like vineyard or wine. I'm going to fuck it up. Sorry, Rod. It's like wine vineyard filters or something.
Yeah, it's something like that.
Yeah.
Because I remember a lot of his photography is like with it's like the filter with like vines and stuff in the background, like the wineries.
I don't get it, but he's a good dude.
It's California.
Yeah, it's
Everyone drinks wine in California. Wine and marijuana.
Yeah.
And then who was? And then we had the one other guy, Ian's buddy, who has since passed away.
Bob.
Yeah, Bob was awesome too.
And he was kind of the inspiration
for the whole story.
for the piece because he had been diagnosed with cancer.
Yeah, liver, right?
It was something
like that.
intense, and then he thought he had beaten it.
Yeah.
And then he ended up passing.
Well, when he was with us, he was in remission, right? It had gone away, yeah. And then I remember Ian told us a couple of years later that he was really sick, and then he unfortunately passed away. But he was a really nice guy and funny as hell. He was joking. He was riffing with us just as much as like we were riffing with each other. He was amazing, great dude, and he also works in the industry. And it was it was a sad loss when we heard that news. Ian actually he flew out, right? Didn't he fly out too?
Apparently, that's the horn for Bob right now. Here, we'll take a moment of silence so we can chew on our sandwich. You guys can listen to that car alarm.
I'm trying to savor this sandwich. It's so delicious. Actually, I'm gonna grab a napkin.
Oh, yeah, fuck
I am gonna grab a beer too.
Oh.
Just been doing a little bit of down. This fucking horn. You want one?
I'm still chewing. Yeah, grab me some. Yeah. Did they get that horn? I think they did.
Is that it?
Oh, man. Fucking cold cuts there are so good.
Oh, spot on, dude.
So good. There's other ones in there if you don't want.
No, I like Founders.
Okay.
I haven't had it in a while. I've been drinking. Where the hell is it? Oh, there it is. We were in Ireland all last week, and I just had way too much Guinness. So like,
You've been everywhere lately.
yeah, I've been trying to travel a lot. It's been amazing. I try to keep cultured, you know. But I love Europe so much. I've actually my girlfriend's just discovered her family. Her mom's side of her family is from Galway, Ireland. So we actually went out and visited her family out there and stuff. So she's trying to get her citizenship.
Oh, cool.
Possibly maybe move out there. They have a big film industry. Like I've been looking
you
into
thinking
it.
about it?
Yeah, just for a little while, maybe like a couple of years. You know, I love Ireland. I love the weather. I love the people. Every single time I go, we end up at a new pub and end up with 5 new friends every time. They're always in their 60s. It's always old men drinking Guinnesses, drinking Jameson. But they're like the sweetest people ever. And yeah, the film industry over there is incredible. They're constantly shooting. Every time I go over, I see production crews everywhere throughout Dublin and all like the suburbs of Dublin and stuff like that.
No shit.
And of course they shoot most of Game of Thrones there too, in Northern Ireland. So up in
right.
Belfast. Unfortunately, I think production's wrapped on that show now, but yeah, they do. I mean, Winterfell is in the north. It's in Belfast, Ireland, Northern Ireland. So
Cool.
it's cool. Yeah, I love Ireland. It's my 3rd time I've been there. We go every year.
I've never
Really?
been. Yeah, I've never been.
You would love it. I mean, food-wise, it's not the most expressive food.
No, yeah,
There's not a lot of flavor. It's better than London. London is very bland. But in Ireland, you get some of the best beer in the world. Like Guinness does not taste the same
That's what I've
over
heard.
here as it does over there. There's something about it over there. I think it's the lime water or whatever. But yeah, it's a different world over there. It feels like Boston in a lot of ways, the old part of it. But Yeah, it's a very nice old city. I love it. I highly recommend going. Like, you would have so much fun in Dublin.
I plan to do a bunch of traveling. Like, I'm going to Italy in a couple weeks.
Yeah, with your folks, right?
Right, with Gina and the folks.
That's gonna be awesome.
And we're flying into Rome, and then we're driving up, and then we'll hit Lake Como and sort of circle back.
That's awesome.
We're doing like 10 days.
That's awesome. That's perfect.
Yeah.
Like I did 2 weeks in May, and it was just enough. Like I got a little homesick by the end, but at that point, and it's 10 days of eating salty meat and drinking wine. Like, it catches up to you by like day 8, 9.
Yeah,
so you're gonna have a lot of fun. I love Italy.
I've got a higher tolerance than most.
Yeah. You have the experience and the practice.
But,
you're gonna love Italy though. You're gonna fit in perfectly over there. Like, oh my god, everything about their food is incredible.
So I was hanging out with one of the coworkers the other day, and he was like asking me where I wanted to go eat, and he's like, I know you're a foodie, and I was slightly insulted. I'm like, because the foodie term is like such a fucking like pompous hipster kind of fucking thing. It's like, dude, I'm not a foodie. I just enjoy good craft. And I enjoy it when people, like, if someone spends the time to make a great sandwich, it could be a fucking peanut butter and jelly sandwich for all it matters.
Yeah, but if they put the love into it,
It's the craft.
Yeah, you can taste it. You
Yeah.
taste the love.
I mean, dude, I grew up in a suburb outside of Boston. I grew up in Framingham, which is like right near the Natick Mall.
Right near where I grew up.
Yeah.
I grew up about 15 minutes from Framingham.
Yeah, so like right in that area. And when I was younger, there was none of this. There was no craft beers. You would hit fucking Chili's.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you'd go out and like, where are we gonna go out for shit? Oh, the Ground Round, or fucking Chili's and shit.
TGI Fridays.
Yeah, dude. So like, it's we're living in such a great time right now, especially for beer. Especially for beer, and apparently helicopters. Wow, this place is such a great.
It's like the marathon bombing all over again.
oh my god.
Remember that?
Oh, this whole neighborhood.
Yeah, because I lived a quarter mile from here at
Yep.
that time.
Yeah, this whole neighborhood was locked down.
Insane. I remember watching you. That was before live Instagram and Facebook, but you were like posting videos of updates throughout the ententire thing. It was awesome.
It was crazy because they had locked down. It's funny how we just shifted gears so fast.
I have the worst ADD.
I love it.
I'm sorry.
I love it. But it was funny how they locked down. Okay, so I don't know if the listeners remember. I'm sure you do. There was the Watertown bombing, the Watertown terrorist stuff that happened here in Boston. Marathon bombing.
Yeah, all stem from marathon.
Yeah. And I basically live in the neighborhood that got locked down. And I don't know how the city pulled it off, but everybody was under house arrest, essentially. You
It
couldn't
was
leave
martial
your house.
law for like 3 days.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
It was nuts.
I was in Brighton and they locked our neighborhood down. My street was blocked off.
We had they brought in, I think it was, I'm gonna fuck the number up, but it was at least 15 SWAT teams from all over the state.
Yeah.
And they were all kicking around on ATVs.
Yep. And those big armored trucks and stuff, the APCs and stuff.
It was ridiculous. And they're sort of driving through the neighborhood, so our whole spot was on lockdown. And I remember when it happened because I had been out obviously drinking the night before, and I woke up late, because I was approaching my, late 30s. So you wake up twice a night to piss at that point. And so I'm waking up late to go to the bathroom, and I'm in there and I'm pissing, and I'm still a little drunk, and I just hear this helicopter, and it just slowly starts to register, and I'm like, it's like 3:00 in the fucking morning. Why is there a helicopter outside?
Shit's going down.
And then that shit happened. And then we were all on lockdown. We couldn't tell what was going on. The news wasn't really able to get in because I locked the whole neighborhood.
Yeah.
So reporters weren't able to get in.
So all the information we were getting from people like you, like people who were on the street level.
And it wasn't just me. Lou was doing it. Lou,
right.
Lou went and found a police band radio, and he started broadcasting a police band radio.
Yeah, that's right. Oh, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Because Steve and I were listening to it over at our apartment.
So we're listening to what's happening over the police band radio, and then the police figured out what was going on. And it was funny because you could hear it at some point where they're listening. Like they would actually say shit like that. Yeah. And then I found an app that had all the different police channels and stuff. So we were listening to stuff through the app. So I started tweeting, because there was a bunch of people that were interested, and like a bunch of my family were asking
It was
questions.
like a national thing at that point. People were all over the country were tuned in. It was crazy.
So I started tweeting the fucking thing. And our friend one of our good friends, I won't mention her name, one of our good friends was the one that shot that video out of her door of the gunfight.
Oh, yeah. Yep, I remember that.
She shot that, and she ended up sending it to me and saying to me, like, what do I do with this? Like, there's some people calling me about this. Like, how do I handle this? I was trying to help her negotiate, like, a good fee, especially when you start dealing with people like fucking Fox News.
Ugh.
You know, it's like, go give it to somebody.
Fake news.
Yeah, give it to someone that matters. Like,
Yeah.
Just ignore their phone calls. Because they were up our shit. They would call me. They were calling everybody going, give us your feeds. And for a minute, I almost, that morning, I was like, being the camera guy that I am, I'm like, I'm going to go out.
Yeah.
So I went and I fucking grabbed a camera. I threw on a hoodie, put a hoodie on. I walked by a mirror and I looked in the mirror and I went, why am I doing this?
Yeah. I look sketchy.
Why am I doing this?
You would have been stopped, though, almost immediately. Too. There were cops everywhere.
Immediately.
And they all had assault rifle. It looked like we were in the middle of, like, a police state. It was crazy. I've never seen so many cops in my life. Absolutely insane.
It was nuts. And to wrap it all up, basically, I ended up on fucking BBC.
That's right. Yeah, I remember.
It was a wild, 24 hours. It was a wild 24 hours.
That was so crazy. I was actually with Gina when the bombing happened. We were shooting in that kitchen. Yeah, you remember that? It was like she was doing like the 50s style like housewife shoot.
Yeah.
And I remember we were shooting, and I remember we could not use our phones because there was so much traffic on all the bands that we couldn't use phones. And Gina and I are like, what the fuck is going on? Like, social media was going crazy, and like I was trying to make some phone calls to call because my parents were probably worried because on the news the bombing happened, all that stuff, and I just remember we could not get through to anybody. So we just continued our shoot. We did it for the rest of the day, and by the time we got out of the shoot, I think we were in Medford or Everett or something. By the time we got out of the shoot, the traffic had kind of died down, and all the investigation was done on Boylston Street, and it quieted down a little bit. But that was insane. Oh my God, that whole week. That was one of the wildest weeks I've ever experienced. Well,
there's nothing. See, what I pride myself for on this podcast is actually having discussions about relevant and like topical news. How long ago was this? It's like,
me and you were just like we're just a fire hose, man. We're just spraying information of all different types in all different directions.
All right. Well, let me check in. So we're at about an hour right now. What's your schedule like? You still got time?
Yeah, I have to be at 3:00. I got to pick up Kira, so.
Okay.
I got to give her a lift, but yeah, so we can chat for a little bit longer.
Okay,
cool. Awesome. Like, at least another 30 minutes.
Okay, cool. Okay, so I know it's abrupt, but I'm going to stop the episode here. We've hit about the hour-long mark, and I think that any doctor would prescribe only an hour of listening to both me and Jarvis ping-pong ideas all over the place. But we talk about lots more stuff, and I promise I'll put together a special mini episode in the future to give you guys more Jarvis. Thanks for listening, and if you have been following Mike Pecci on Instagram, you know that this week I released the title and the new poster for my new short film, Who's There? I'm really excited about this, guys. I have finished this film. I finished this film back in March, and I haven't been able to talk about it for a while, and I'm finally able to start releasing some stuff. So definitely continue to follow me on Instagram. If you don't yet, it's just Mike Pecci on Instagram. I'll be releasing information on festival releases for it, as well as a trailer hopefully soon. So definitely go check that out. I'm really excited about this film, guys. It's beautiful. It's scary. It's just plain awesome. I'll do an episode talking all about it in the future, I promise. In the meantime, remember, if you guys sign up for Audible by clicking the link below, we get paid and you get a 30-day free trial plus a free book. It's the best way to support the show without reaching in your own wallet. Click below and to sign up. I'll have a link there below. And even if you cancel after the first month, we still get paid. Shh. It's a good deal if you ask me. So if you haven't yet, also go follow In Love with the Process POD on Instagram, or go to our official site, inlovewiththeprocess.com, and leave me some feedback, guys. What is your favorite episode so far? What would you like to hear me talk about next? You can leave those questions on Instagram. You can type a note. You can leave them under graphics, wherever, either on Mike Pecci or on In Love with the Process POD. And then I will try to read them and answer them on the show. So let's get more interactive, huh? I'd like to hear what you guys want to hear from me. I want to hear what you guys are thinking about. So please leave me some notes. And with that, I'm going to go make a sandwich. I'll see you later.